Can you imagine waking up from a hospital bed, barely alive, only to find someone's trying to steal your house out from under you? That's exactly what happened to me when Lisa Harper, the iron-fisted head of our Homeowners Association, decided my home was hers for the taking. Let me take you back to how this suburban nightmare unfolded, a story so wild it'll make your blood boil and your jaw drop. 6 months ago, I moved into Maple Grove Estates, a picture-perfect neighborhood with neat lawns and rules tighter than a drum. I'm an architect, work from home, and had scraped together every penny to buy my dream house, a cozy 2-story with a big backyard. The day I pulled up with my MOVing truck, Lisa Harper was waiting, clipboard in hand, her smile as fake as a $3 bill. "Welcome to Maple Grove," she said, her voice dripping with superiority, like I should bow just for being there. "I'm Lisa Harper, HOA president. You'll need to read our bylaws. We don't tolerate rule breakers." She shoved a binder at me, thick as a phone book, and pointed at my mailbox. "That's 3 inches too tall. Fix it in 7 days or you're fined." I nodded, kept it polite, but I could tell she was itching for a fight. My neighbor, Mike, filled me in later over a beer. "Lisa's been queen bee for 6 years," he said, shaking his head. "Nobody runs against her. She loves power trips. Just stay out of her crosshairs." For a while I did. I followed the rules, kept my head down, and avoided her eagle-eyed patrols. But trouble found me when I decided to plant a vegetable garden in my backyard. It was tucked behind my house, hidden by a nice wooden fence, perfectly within the bylaws that said gardens just had to be out of street VYEW. Lisa didn't see it that way. One Saturday she banged on my door, her face red with that smug, "I've got you now" look. "Your garden VYOLAT section 14, paragraph 3. She snapped, like she'd memorized the rulebook for fun. "Vegetable gardens need approval from my landscaping committee." I grabbed her own binder and showed her the rule clear as day: no approval needed if it's not street VY Cybele. "There's a mistake here, Lisa," I said, keeping my cool. "The bylaws don't say that." Her eyes turned to slits. "Maybe the bylaws need a rewrite," she hissed. "Tear it out by Monday, or it's due $75 a day." I wasn't budging. That garden was my pride and joy, and I wasn't about to let her bully me. Lisa went on a rampage, nitpicking everything. My lawn was a 1/4 inch too long, my trash can sat out 10 minutes past pickup, my garden hose was too bright. Fines stacked up like poker chips, but I fought everyone at the HOA meetings, quoting the bylaws to the board. Most of the time, they sided with me, which drove Lisa up the wall. She wasn't used to losing, especially not in front of her little kingdom. After one meeting where the board shot down her garden fine unanimously, she cornered me in the parking lot, her voice low and venomous. "You think you're slick, huh? Nobody makes me look stupid. You'll wish you never moved here." I brushed it off as hot air from a control freak. Big mistake. Lisa Harper didn't bluff. 2 weeks later, I woke up at 2 a.m. doubled over in pain, my stomach feeling like it was being stabbed. I called 911, and next thing I knew, I was in the hospital with a ruptured appendix. Surgery went south, sepsis set in, and what should have been a quick fix turned into a 3-week fight for my life, plus 2 more weeks recovering at home. While I was hooked to IVs, Lisa was plotting to take everything I'd worked for. Mike later told me he'd seen her snooping around my place, coming and going like she owned it. She told neighbors she was checking on things and watering my plants at my request. Plants I don't even have. In reality, she was cooking up a scheme straight out of a crime novel. The day I got home, still weak and hobbling, I found a notice plastered on my door. It said my house was abandoned property, claimed by the HOA, and now belonged to someone else. A deed transfer, dated 2 weeks earlier, said I'd sold my home to Lisa Harper for $1. $1. I called the county clerk, my hands shaking. They confirmed a deed on file said I'd shown up, signed it, and notarized it myself. Except I was unconscious in the ICU at the time, tubes down my throat. "This is fraud," I told the clerk, my voice cracking. "I was in the hospital. I didn't sign anything. They were sympathetic but said I'd need to lawyer up to fight it. Meanwhile, Lisa had slapped an EVY tie-in notice on me 72 hours to get out of her house. I called my cousin, Sarah, a real estate lawyer with a knack for tearing apart scams like this. She rushed over, read the papers, and her eyes lit up with that. "We've got her. Look. This is textbook fraud," she said. "We'll get an injunction to stop the EVY tie-in and file criminal charges: forgery, fraud, breaking and entering. But we gotta move fast." Sarah burned the midnight oil drafting motions while I pulled together proof. The hospital gave me records with timestamps showing I was out cold when this supposed signing happened. I also set up security cameras around my house, just in case Lisa got bold. Sure enough, the next morning, she showed up with two burly guys, smirking like she'd already won. "These men will help you pack," she said, all fake generosity. "I'm GIVYing you until 5 p.m. today instead of the full EVY tie-in." I blocked the doorway, staring her down. "Lisa, you forged a deed while I was in the hospital. That's a felony. My lawyer's already filed for an injunction and criminal charges." Her smirk flickered, but she doubled down. "You signed it yourself. I've got a notarized document." I held up my hospital papers. "I was unconscious with sepsis. And these cameras I set up last night? They just caught you saying I need to leave a house you stole. Want to keep talking, or save it for court?" The two guys looked spooked. "We thought this was a standard EVY tie-in," one mumbled, backing off. "We're out." Lisa's face twisted with fury as her muscle ditched her. "You think you're clever?" she spat. "I know people in this town. I'll bury you." That same day, the judge granted our injunction, letting me stay in my house while the case went forward. Sarah filed a criminal complaint with the DA, complete with hospital records, the fake deed, and my camera footage. The investigation moved fast. The notary on the deed had no record of the transaction, and a handwriting expert said the signature wasn't mine. Lisa's bank records showed she'd bought furniture and appliances the day after acquiring my house, like she was ready to move in. The knockout punch was her laptop, seized by police. It had drafts of the deed, Google searches for "how to claim abandoned property" and "forge a signature," and a floor plan of my house with notes about redecorating my bedroom. My bedroom. 3 weeks after I got home, we faced off in court. Lisa strutted in, all polished in a designer suit, like her HOA crown would save her. The judge, a no-nonsense woman with sharp eyes, wasn't HOWing it. She pored over the EVY denke, her face growing darker with every page. Lisa's lawyer tried to spin it as a mix-up about my hospital stay, but the judge shut him down. "Counsel, your client forged documents to steal a man's home while he was fighting for his life," she said, her voice like ice. "This isn't a mix-up. It's criminal fraud." When Lisa took the stand, Sarah tore her apart. At first, Lisa stuck to her story I'd signed the deed before getting sick. But Sarah hit her with the hospital timestamps and medical records, proving I couldn't have. Lisa switched gears, her voice shrill. "He was going to sell it to me anyway. We had a deal." Sarah didn't blink. "A verbal deal with a man in a coma? That's your story?" Lisa snapped, jumping up, the judge's gavel banging. "He didn't deserve that house. He waltzed in, breaking rules. His garden was hideous, his mailbox was wrong. Someone had to put him in his place." The courtroom went dead quiet. Lisa froze, realizing she'd just confessed. Her lawyer looked like he wanted to disappear. The judge's voice was steel. "Ms. Harper, you knowingly committed forgery, fraud, and attempted theft. These are felonies." She nodded to the bailiff. "Take her into custody." Lisa's jaw dropped, her hands flailing as cuffs clicked on. "This is insane. I'm the HOA president. I run the community garden." The judge didn't flinch. "You tried to steal a man's home while he was dying. No bail. You're looking at 5 to 7 years in prison and do la 75,000 in fines." Turning to me, The judge softened. Sir, the deed is void. Your home is yours. Ms. Harper will cover your legal fees. As Lisa was dragged out, still babbling about her reputation, the judge's final words cut through. You should have thought of that before you committed a felony. Lisa's face was ghost white, her empire crumbling as the courtroom doors slammed shut behind her. That's the story of how I almost lost my home to a power-hungry HOA tyrant and how justice slapped her down hard. If you think you've got a neighbor from hell, trust me, you haven't met Lisa Harper.